It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory. Chris's crazy theory.
What's going to be impressive is getting one coherent thought out of this movie.
So
because the movie doesn't have one.
I think this is going to recontextualize the entire saga for you. If you're willing to come on this crazy train with me, I think this is going to make you rethink
I've watched the movie. I can't go anywhere worse.
Exactly. So to make sure the audience is up to speed with us on this crazy train, let's go back to the very beginning of the saga. All right. We start out with Finn. If we take a look at this first image, he's surfing with his friend and he makes a comment that there's something unnatural about this, which I thought nothing of it at the time. But having seen these 5 movies now, I'm starting to rethink that. But just to cycle ahead. So he sees this girl that only he seems to see, and she's about to go surfing with him. Like he's all happy. This is the last time.
That's before he gets back with April.
This is before he's seen any of the Sharknado movies. This is the actor. But then it's just him and this girl surfing. And if you rewatch that scene, which I would never expect you to.
No, you asked too much.
I said if. They're mirroring each other's movements. And it seemed very strange to me that no one else seemed to see her. And I started to thinking, maybe this girl isn't even real. And now when she dies, she actually becomes the first victim of a shark attack, at least as far as Finn's perspective. There was that initial scene on the boat, but Finn was not there. So what I think is actually happening is that this girl was part of his imagination and that he was actually the victim of a regular, normal shark attack. If the way it was shot, it was very visceral. It was very point of view, this first attack. We don't see this in any of the other deaths, but this first one, I don't know if you could see, but this is the eyeball of the shark. It was thrashing around. It was like a point of view sort of situation. I think this was actually what happened to Finn. He was the victim of a regular shark attack. He lost a lot of blood, and it took a while for his buddy to come rescue him. Now, in the movie, he's rescuing his friend, but I think in reality, his friend took him a while to get on the jet ski to come all the way out and save him. Meanwhile, he lost a lot of blood from the shark attack. He lost consciousness. And he slipped into a coma. And I think this scene where he's actually helping his friend, in reality, he was the one that was in trouble and lost consciousness and has been in a coma this entire time. If you look back and you see when he looks at that girl, there's this odd light, almost like an illusionary or dreamlike state that was placed on her. He's picturing this girl in his head. He's reliving the shark attack in his own brain. In fact, when she dies and she looks at him, she's looking directly at him because this is all in his head. Now, I can see you're doubting me. And by you, I mean the entire audience.
Yeah, it's not the bad lighting or the terrible effects or the awful acting. It's not a lot.
More proof, you say, you need. So, according to the National Institute of Health, drowning can cause a coma due to brain hypoxia or a lack of oxygen to the brain. Now, some may say I seem to be suffering from that right now, but I say no.
We've just watched 5 Sharknado movies.
That's the same thing. Yeah,
that's the same thing. Yeah.
But just a few minutes of hypoxia may result in a persistent coma, and I think that's what's happened to Finn. Let's look at more evidence. You say. You didn't say, I said. But one thing that researchers will say is an example, if you're in the middle of a dream, they say a sign that you're in a dream is that people in the dream tend to change shape, even or change form. People that you recognize, family members, they look a little bit different from one moment to another. Take an example.
Plastic surgery.
This is that's another theory. That's another theory. But this theory, his daughter looked this way in the beginning and then looks this way later on. And that is because, again, this is all a dream. So people look
Where's
different.
4?
Same thing with his son.
You didn't put in 4? Where she looks completely different again?
I didn't want to do that to her. But yes, exactly. Matt, same thing. Matt looks this way in the beginning, and then as his dream goes on, he looks completely different. So that's one example. More proof, you say you need. So another thing researchers say, another sign that you're actually in a dream, is that warped and strange, unnatural things can occur. I think we've seen that throughout these movies, right? We have the Sharknados, crazy things happening all the time. I mean, for crying out loud, we have a giant shark in space. This is clearly a dream inside his own head. More proof you say you need. I don't know why you keep saying it, but more proof I have for you. Another thing researchers say is that in the dream, you tend to be the star in your own dream, the focus of major events that are occurring. Well, here we see he was actually saving the world with the president of the United States. So clearly he's the focus in his own mind. And that explains why he's able to do everything and have unlimited abilities. Okay, I know what you're saying. You need more proof. And I have more proof for you, good sir.
I need more oxygen to the brain after watching these movies.
So another thing is, if he's in a coma, that means there's people with him that are visiting him, trying to talk to him, family members, things like that. And oftentimes in the hospital room, there's TVs on in the background. That's why we keep seeing images of news anchors throughout these movies, because this is all playing out in his head. Researchers say that audible stimuli would leak into your dreams, such as from a TV or radio. So that's exactly what's going on. So we're seeing that play out both in the news reports and also in the movies. You see how this last movie, everything was a copy of a movie, such as the Back to the Future. We mentioned Indiana Jones. These are movies that are being watched on TV, leaking into his subconscious as he sits in a coma. You could even see also at the end of the movie, the earth is grayed. What does this remind us of? A graying earth that's in trouble. It looks like a brain scan to me because, again, he is in a coma. Now, I can see that you're doubting.
This is a better plot than the movie.
So I know what you're saying. You're saying, Chris, sweet Chris, if this was really true and he had brain trauma and was in a coma, we would need to see some sign of that reflected in his dreams. He would need to be focusing somehow on the brain if he's somehow aware of the danger that he's in. So I have for you the final proof. This is what's going on, but the final proof that he is actually in a coma right here. This is April talking to him. And when he says, no, don't go, that's April talking to him. And look, he's holding a human brain, a human head in his hands. This is the smoking gun, my friend. This is the proof that Finn Shepard is in a coma in a hospital. And this is all playing out in his dreams. And that is my theory.
His dream are nightmares. Oh, God.